Can you see yourself being?
I can't, but I know I'm
talking
on
about being a daddy.
Oh, me?
Could you see yourself
Not
being
yet.
a
How
dad,
old are
dude?
you?
21.
I was 1 and 1 on the way by when I was your age.
Really?
Yep. Brendan's 32.
He's the first?
With Deanna?
No, she's my second wife.
Okay.
So she has 3 girls. I have 4 boys, and then Kirsten, our 13-year-old, I adopted. So biologically, she's not mine, but legally, she's mine.
Okay.
That's a lot of kids.
We are the Brady bunch, the true Brady bunch.
100%. Yeah. Yo, family reunion's going crazy. That's wild.
I just want to get right into it. No bullshitting. It's the Chicken and Rice Pod. We're here with Big Wayne in the Pump House currently on the casting couch.
Pause.
What'd you say?
I said the casting couch. I said pause. That's crazy.
shit.
Casting couch is crazy.
Yeah. So I just want to know, like, yo, Brett, don't interrupt the pod, buddy. You're not on the pod. Before you were Big Wayne, like, who were you? Like, let's just go through the come up.
I was this skinny little kid with pimples all over my face, long hair, mullet. Weighed about $150 until I got into high school, and then in high school I bulked up to a big 170. So when I graduated high school, I was 170. But I fell in love with weights when I was about 12 years old. Man, I grew up real poor, so we didn't get a lot of stuff. And my 12th Christmas, I got this weight set from back then it was Kmart. And it was the concrete weights with the plastic covers on them. You drop them once or twice, and the cover cracked and popped off of it. But I lived in a trailer park, and there was this little metal building behind my trailer that was just there. And my mom gave me that weight set, and it was the biggest present I ever had in my life. So I put it in that room right there, and I had my own little weight room, and I fell in love with it. About 12 years old, I fell in love with working out.
That's young.
Yeah.
Very young.
Well, I knew I wasn't going to be the prettiest, so I better be the biggest and the strongest.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
So what do you think got you into the serious like weightlifting though? When did that happen?
I just, when I fell in love with it, I just kept seeing gains and gains. And it really wasn't until probably, because, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have, the only thing you really had was the magazines, and they all lied in the magazines. They told you to get big, eat protein, you know, get big, eat protein. But, you know, I still saw advancements and everything until I met these 2 guys, took me under their belt. I was living in Nashville, Tennessee, and one was a retired Marine Corps drill instructor, and one was a retired offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers. And they pulled me to the side one day, and they were both black guys, and I was just a little white dude, you know. And they were like, "Man, we see you in here every day busting your tail." He said, "But you do about 50% of what you do is wrong." And, you know, most people went, you know, got offended, but I was like, shit, these guys going to help me out, you know?
Yeah.
And when they did, then it took off. I mean, then it really took off. And then I was 2-a-days as much as I could.
Well, it's almost crazy like how because like Joey Anderson, like one of the older guys that helped me out when I first started lifting, like having that older presence of just guys being like, hey, like I see you in here working hard, and that's really like all they need to see, really, like let me help you. You know what I mean? It can almost like offset your entire journey in weightlifting. You know what I mean?
Having a mentor is a big thing, and nowadays it's like having a coach.
100%.
You know, I mean, you want to progress nowadays. You hire a coach, you're going to progress further along than you would if you try to do it on your own.
100%.
I mean, I know pretty much anything there is to know about bodybuilding, powerlifting, and everything. And my wife's an IFBB pro, and yet she has a coach. I don't coach her. That way, she's got to listen to somebody else. She's got to answer to them.
What age did you like get that advice from them?
I was probably early 20s.
Would you say that was like a major turning point?
That was a major turning point.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, you see advancement, but when you really learn how to hit the muscle like you're supposed to, and they show you the correct exercises, because a lot of times when you're younger, man, you'll be training chest and you're doing another body part. Not, I mean, you're doing shoulders.
Like in between my sets, I'm like training biceps, right?
Yeah,
like just trying
you're
to like just do
focusing.
whatever. Yeah.
And, you're going through you're getting sore and you're going through everything, but you're really not maximizing what you need to be maximizing.
Absolutely.
100%.
This is going to be I don't know if the answer might be obvious, but do you prefer, or if you had to pick one, would you do bodybuilding or like powerlifting?
I choose powerlifting for the simple fact that I can't diet.
100%.
That's valid.
I
though,
love
yeah.
to eat, and I mean, I walk around at 310 plus. So, for me to get down to bodybuilding, I'd have to get down to like 260 something. And, I'm sure I could do it, but there's things through the years that have stopped me from doing bodybuilding, injuries, being in car accidents and stuff like that. That have hampered it, but I've always been able to power lift because I'm really a bench specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I've been hurt at really didn't affect my bench except having my shoulders redone.
So like
Flex the world records real quick for the bench.
50 and over, it's 565, which I just heard it just got broke. So we're going to focus on 275. We got to go. He just hit 601. It's a French guy. And then there's at 308, I'm number 2. I got 601. I've missed 628 at lockout 3 times, which is the world record right now. And then I'm number 1 at super heavy at 617.
what did you get at the Flex Lewis Wars? Didn't you do 635 or something like that?
I did, what now?
Didn't you do 635 at the?
I did 635 as an open meet.
Yeah.
Not official.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
At 53 years old.
Yeah. Like just that coming out of my mouth, like, oh, you just press 635. It's nothing. You know what I mean? It's just an open meet.
But we I went back to the beginning again this Monday. We reset our program, so we're gonna see what happens. I did a cut a while back, and I cut 35 pounds in 6 days, and my immune system got down. I caught a stomach bug, and I just didn't hit the weight I needed to hit to break the 275 world record. Just missed it at lockout, but, no excuses. It was a hell of a cut for me at 53. I used to cut 20, 30 pounds, and it was nothing. But that was probably the hardest cut I ever did in my life.
That was a couple months ago, right? I remember you talking about that, yeah.
Well, your body just like can't defend itself from infection and all. Your central nervous system takes a huge beating when you try to drop weight that fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
You're probably not drinking any water either, right?
I did a water cut, 6-day water cut. I was doing the hot baths like the fighters do, wrapping in the comforter, and it's over and over and over. And then when you finally get to weight, you can't eat or can't drink because you got next day weigh-ins. So, yeah, it was.
Just got to hold there.
Yeah.
Like almost just like embrace the suck at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that's why, like, in training, you can hit numbers that are, like, a lot higher, and then when you have to cut the weight, you're doing a little bit lower?
I hit in the low to, mid 6s, but I'm 310, 315.
Yeah.
When you cut the 275, it's hard to put that water back into you, and the only real way to do it's IV back up. That's the only way to get back all that back in you.
All your fluid healthily, right?
Yeah.
And right into your blood. Because your body's going to have to, you're just going to probably almost piss it out, flush it out if you drink it. It's got to get in you.
Most of your good top powerlifters, they're IVing back up if they do a cut. Some of them are just lifting in their weight class, so they're fine. But
a lot of these bodybuilders now even do like, Nick Walker do like IV bags after like a leg day, like at Revive, like IV bag full of like vitamin B, like vitamin D, all that stuff.
I go get fluids probably every 2 to 3 weeks just for the simple fact that it makes me feel so much better. At my age, and I'm sure it does. There's some other guys in here. Pat does it. It just flushes your system, gets all the toxins out, replenishes everything. And you're good to go again.
100%.
Got to get them Santa Cruz electrolytes.
No, dude, they honestly are fire. I put a Klein on it the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so I'll actually bring you some. This guy, Brendan, sent us these electrolytes that I've been taking pre-workout. It's 60 milligrams of potassium, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and 200 milligrams of magnesium citrate, I think. So that's like
It's like a Pedialyte almost. Isn't it?
Yeah,
But he
like,
doesn't put any
no,
like
like,
colors,
sweetener,
like,
nothing.
It's all like natural shit.
So it
'cause he's,
doesn't.
like,
That doesn't throw off your natural pH, like all the offsetting stuff. Dude, when I say like literally, I'll take this pre-workout and I feel like you can feel it training, hydrate, like the salt in my muscle, the water volume. I feel better. Like it's crazy.
So is the pump more intense?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't get, usually after like your first compound movement, you're like, all right, I'm like, I can get some water, like a Gatorade at this point. Like I'm almost like baseline throughout my workout.
You know,
It's
I'm
great.
funny. I'm real funny about water. I try to get in 2 gallons a day, but I just cannot drink straight water. The only time I can drink straight water is in the gym training. Through the day, I have to put, Crystal
Flavoring in it.
Light
Yeah.
or some kind of hydration in it or something
Yeah.
to give it flavor, just so I can get it in. And to me, drinking water is almost a job like eating. Most people, even when they eat, they don't get their water in.
No, 100%. I try to get my clients at like 120 fluid ounces, and most people fall short of that. And that's like as people who train all the time, you should be getting more than that. You know what I mean?
when I was on prep, I would use like the powdered flavoring shit, and I had like a half-gallon, this thing right there, my half-gallon jug. I probably went through like 6 of those a day because I would just pour like the flavor in there, and on prep when you're like hungry as shit, just drink.
You want to taste anything,
like
bro?
Crazy.
I was blending up oats and putting like my egg whites and making like a disgusting like egg pancake out of it, and I would like just douse it in zero sugar syrup and be like,
Well,
Try
me,
to
I
eat
do
it
the
bite by bite.
I do the crazy shit nobody wants to do.
That's
I
true.
blend all my food.
I do that now. Meal 1 is 4 eggs, 10 ounces of egg whites, 120 grams of oats, 40 grams of peanut butter, 100 grams of blueberries, and I blend that shit every morning.
We might have to change that for my meal plan because my first meal is always the hardest to eat right now. It's like 4 eggs and all that chicken and
Dude,
oatmeal.
it makes me lethargic too after eating all those fats. So I
That's my
can't.
favorite meal of the day. It's the only one I actually eat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The eggs and oatmeal and stuff.
Yeah, I get 8 eggs and 12 ounces of white potatoes.
Oh, the potatoes are what make it hit. Yeah, breakfast potatoes slap, yo. The breakfast potatoes I just can't eat because the starches blow up in my stomach, yo. And then I like 2 hours later when I have to eat 8 ounces of chicken and 150 grams of rice, I'm like,
So I'm fine because I blend 12 ounces of rice, 8 ounces of chicken,
and
and
just
then
drink that?
8 ounces of egg whites and blend it and drink it.
ooh,
For that's meal 2, 3, 4.
ooh.
And then meal 5's filet mignon with a salad and some fruit.
Estimated like calorie intake right now? Do you know
I
what
have
it is?
no idea what my calories are, but it's
A lot.
from 10 to 12 pounds of food a day.
Yeah, that's insane.
Holy shit.
If
Well,
you
if you're
break out
eating,
how many ounces it is, it
8
comes up
ounces of egg
between-
whites and 8 ounces of chicken with 12 ounces of rice
That's almost 2 pounds every meal.
that's at least 115 grams of protein per meal too. So like, dude, drinking that, bro, I gotta see you drink that one day. Like I need it.
It's amazingly easy. I mean, I put it in the Ninja and puree it, and I
Yeah,
do it twice.
any flavoring?
I do it twice. I put Texas Pete in it.
Okay, yeah, that's
And,
not
I mean,
bad.
it's almost like a broth. It's almost like a chicken broth.
Well, see, some guy who does it. God, the Ryan guy on TikTok? Remember that one TikTok that went viral and I was showing you? He was like making his friend train. He's like, Ryan! Remember that?
I don't know.
The Ryan kid that was like popping off for a little bit on TikTok, but he blends chicken a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good little trick that's honestly seemed like it would make it a little bit better. Just put a little bit of chicken stock in it.
Well, I seen even that Mark Fitzwater guy.
I've done that.
Yeah, and that's
The
got
only
to help
problem-
it.
The only problem with that is you just add more money when you put it
Yeah,
in there.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
I seen, Mark Fitzwater. He's on Instagram. He's a big bodybuilder, dude. He's short. He does like a citrus flavor.
They're all short.
He blends chicken and rice, and he puts like citrus flavoring in it,
I saw that video.
which is
yeah.
like I don't know if that. I
He
mean,
puts the
might
citrus
be good.
Mio in it, bro, with his chicken and rice. And I'm like, that can't be.
It must be good for him, or he wouldn't do it.
That's
You gotta
valid.
find what works.
It's true. I've never blended it, so I don't know what.
Cali,
I'm telling you,
Cali
once you
watching,
blend it,
it's easier.
you,
That's
I mean, think about it. everybody, the problem with most of the people who can't get their meals in is they work a
can't eat.
job, they can't stop and eat.
Yeah.
Anywhere. If you're a truck driver, you're an X-ray technician, who can't take something and drink it while you're at the job?
Yeah.
So you have no excuse for not getting your meals in.
I told a guy I was talking about client history, and he was like, my problem with all this like meal prep and training is like, I'm a truck driver. He said my truck never stops. And I was like, dude, it comes down to whether or not you're willing to like buy a day pass at a local gym, as far as like just looking it up if you have a training plan, and like packing meals in a fridge that are easy to drink throughout the day. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I have a problem with people who tell me they never have time, because I worked a full-time job. I worked for one company for 30 years. I raised 4 boys.
that's not
I
easy.
coached
yeah.
football, I coached baseball, a little bit of basketball. I was at the gym at 4:30 in the morning training. Then I'd be at football practice or baseball practice or whatever that night, taking care of my kids. And if you want it, you're gonna
find the time.
Yeah.
Same thing with my dad. He had to open the gym at 5 a.m. The gym in Georgetown when he had it. It was like every morning training 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Or like
Now, it sucks to
training on his
train in
lunch
the
break.
morning because
Yeah,
you don't
it
have
does.
your meals in you and everything. But
And
hey,
it's 4 a.m. and you benching at 4 a.m. It's like, oh, shit.
But I mean, that afternoon you don't feel guilty because you did your shit that morning. You know what I'm saying?
And also you got to be present for your kids and like
And
take
here's
them to
the thing,
stuff. And
my kids, so 3 out of 4 of my boys, 2 are police officers, and Brendan, he owns a gym, and Zach, he's a pipe fitter and a welder. But 3 out of the 4 now actually train. So they saw me, the dedication that I gave to the gym and what it did and everything, and now they do it.
it's definitely monkey see, monkey do, because I almost used to tell my dad I'd never do this for a living because I wanted to make a little more money. You know what I mean? Growing up. And now I'm like, it's all I want to do, right? It's my living,
Well,
because it's monkey see, monkey do. I fell in love with the lifestyle more so than like, I want to be a billionaire. You know
I
what
think
mean?
there's more money in it now though than there was when your dad and I were coming up.
When you're in the 90s opening up a gym, it's like your
didn't
money is
have
day
the-
passes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you
Like,
didn't have the capability of online training.
Yeah.
You couldn't train more than the people who showed up at the gym. So you were at the mercy of the gym for what you did.
So that's why he stopped doing the big gym, and we have the personal training gym now, because smaller square footage facility, you charge people more because they get a private gym with a trainer. So it's almost like we had to think smarter, not harder with that. But definitely seeing my dad like lift in the mornings with his buddies, like I'll run into his buddies and Polly's now, like in Food Line, and they'll follow me on Instagram. They're like, I just see you, motherfucker, when you were like this big, and it's great, bro. You know what I mean? Because that's the stuff. It literally did like set the kind of the path for the rest of my life. Like I love that like factor of being with your bros in the gym, like being with your, like seeing my dad do that, like just lifting, pushing each other, being better. You know
And
what I mean?
I don't know. Nobody in my family, like my mom's 1 of 9, they're all overweight. Everybody in my family's overweight. My dad was a small guy. My dad was $130. My mom was 300 pounds. And so I don't know, everybody's like, well, genetics, I got big traps, never worked them, and stuff like that. And then you see Brendan come along, and he's a miniature me.
Yeah.
But before me, there was no genetics. So I don't know how the genetics got into the equation,
That is crazy.
If you think about
Now,
it,
my grandfather was 6'8", 400 pounds, and he was that man when he shook your hand, your arm disappeared.
yeah.
His fingers were big around as your wrist.
That's probably where you got it from. What is the thing we learned in school? It's the cross.
Yeah,
where
it's
you
like
put the XX and YY, and that's
Yeah.
how you get it. So basically, even if your parents didn't have it, you could get something that you've like that hasn't been passed on from your grandparents yet. So like my mom's 5'3", 5'3" or 5'4". My dad's like 5'6",
Well,
and I'm
Brendan-
5'8". I'm like blessed. I'm
Brendan's
like, thank
mom's
God.
5 foot tall.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Thank God I'm 6'4" because he ended up being 5'11".
I wish I could at least say I was 6 foot. Like comes off the tongue better.
The Punnett Square.
The Punnett Square?
And there's 4 little squares within it, and then there's like the recessive and
the dominant gene. Yeah.
So you have like a 1/4 chance of getting the gene that, like, I don't know,
the
something
recessive
like that.
has to line up and overpower that chromosome, like the way it boxes off, I'm pretty sure. But I strictly remember doing that in grade school, like doing that.
So you might have had like a 1 in 4 chance of just being a unit.
Of being Big Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems. Have you seen Beckham, my grandson? He's got guns. He's got traps.
That's
and he's got calves.
he's like 4, right?
Yeah, he's 5.
Okay,
He's
that's a
5.
big 5-year-old dude.
Yeah, and
he
can
looks like
literally-
he looks like 6 or 7.
Yeah, he can literally. He could do a bodybuilding if he knew how to pose. He could do a bodybuilding. I mean, he's genetically that advanced.
I love that. He's gonna be a little beast, man.
That's
How's
awesome.
Brendan doing with his chest?
He's about 80%, I think. You know, we're about to open Queen City Pump House in Charlotte. It's going to be hopefully the new location. It's going to be right across from Bojangles Arena off of Independence Boulevard. So that's going to be, you know, it's he has his, I have mine, but we're both.
We're trying to build it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. Well, that y'all are. I mean, it's not even competing really anymore with everything that's happened with them, but y'all are kicking out the office basically out of that area, right?
They're struggling. They're
Yeah.
struggling.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that too much.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right now, I think it's the only gym down there really to train at that if you really seriously want to train.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things going on down there. But I mean, I hope the best for them. They,
No, 100%.
You know, they've spent the money, so I mean, it's just a matter of whether they can get the people to come and everything.
100%. Well, if you're in Charlotte or Queen City, Pump House, that's where you guys need to go train.
Oh, there's another one?
Yeah, open it up in
Where
Queen
were you
City.
at, man? We just had this whole conversation.
No, that's I didn't know what like the whole. I didn't know there was another one.
He's supposed to be signing a lease this week.
That's awesome.
So it'll be right out of downtown.
So it's just getting started up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, the equipment's bought, everything's ready to go. The day he signs the lease, he'll be open in 30 days.
That's a YouTube video right
what's
there.
up.
Go to Charlotte and train.
like 3 hours
train the new
away?
one.
3 hours away.
About 3.5.
You could go see Casey and go train there.
There you go.
That's what I'm
Still,
saying.
I'm with it.
But
And
he's
for
pretty much got everything I got here, and he'll probably have more because he's gonna have a lot more square footage. I think the phase 1 he's gonna be around 13 or 14,000 square feet, and then when he finishes, he's gonna be somewhere 30 plus.
Hell yeah.
to give
30,000
y'all
square
Pretty
feet's
big
a
for
good
an
bit,
independent
yeah.
family-owned
No, 100%.
facility.
I mean, this is what do you have here? Like,
Little over 11.
yeah, so that's gonna be
3 times.
a little
this.
bit over double. Like, yeah, that's. And this is a big gym. You almost get lost in here with the equipment. You know what I mean?
And we wish it was bigger so we could put some more in there.
And to give y'all reference, Big Wayne's son won the overall in bodybuilding at the show that I did. To give you reference of, he's Yam.
What Brennan looks like.
Yeah, he's Yam. He won the overall. So,
What other questions did you have for him?
well, we kind of got off track because we were talking about like the entire come up. So, early 20s, you started lifting. The turning point.
Then I was just a gym rat. Then I just wanted to be big. I wanted to, you know, look good and everything. And then we skipped way ahead, which, you know, I don't know if you want to get into the alcoholism and everything about that, but
That's completely up to you. I talk about my past a lot on here, but that's completely up to you.
I got no problem talking about it. It's part of it is who made me.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. That's how I feel about it.
A little after my 20s, I started drinking pretty heavy, but I still continued to go to the gym. I still continued to be a good dad, but I had an alcohol problem. For 15 years, nobody could tell me I had an alcohol problem. We all know that an addict, you know, you can't tell them they got a problem. So I would get off of work. I was a functioning alcoholic. I'd get off of work, I'd grab a 6-pack, and I'd kill them before I got to the gym and train. And that was every day, you know. Or I'd stop at Hooters or whatever, you know, where my buddies were, and we'd all have a few beers, and then they'd go on about their business, and I'd go to the gym. And then one day it hit me, you know. Well, first I met Donnie Thompson, who I don't know if y'all know.
That's Thompson bow tie, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Donnie was one of the greatest gear lifters of all time. He's the first man to break 3,000. Donnie took me under his wing. Again, somebody mentored me because I wasn't a powerlifter. I was a bodybuilder at that time. Even though I never did a bodybuilding show, every exercise I did as a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. And Donnie took me under his wing, and he saw that I was pretty strong, and he's like, if I can teach you these things, then you can become a powerlifter. And I always wanted to be the strongest, and pretty much I always remember being the strongest. unless I was with a group of guys like at Donnie's gym.
Yeah.
And so I remember Donnie got me into powerlifting. My first powerlifting meet, I didn't have a singlet. So Patrick was lifted with Donnie, and Patrick took me, and he said, Wayne, he said, I'll lift, I'll take my singlet off, you put it on, you lift. So we did the whole meet like that. This is how good this guy was to me. My first powerlifting meet, I got to meet Louis Simmons. Louis pulled me to the side. I benched 585, won the meet. And to this day, I've never lost a meet that I ever competed in. And Louis told me, he said, Wayne, if you ever figure out what the hell you're doing, you're going to be dangerous. And then I just continued, I listened to the Brandon Lillies and to the top powerlifters. I would go to seminars, and I finally realized, no matter how good you are, somebody's better than you and somebody knows more than you. So then I started playing with my technique and, moving my fingers in and out, a little bit of arch, leg drive and all that stuff. And I finally got it to where I thought it was the best it could be, and that's when I started breaking world records. But then going back to the drinking, one day I went on a weekend binge, and I still showed up at the gym Monday. And I went in, I was taking a piss right before training.
Blood.
And it was straight blood. And I was like, damn. I probably need to go to the doctor. Well,
Yeah.
me being the hard head I was, back then I didn't like going to the doctors. And so I was like, I'll wait a day or two. Second day, still straight blood. Third day, it kind of got pink and started clearing up. Well, after it was already cleared, I went to the doctor. The doctor said, well, you were in kidney failure. You were literally, if you'd have kept on, you probably would have died.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't have any grandchildren. I was about 40. And I said, I want to be here. Now it's about longevity. Because my whole life, I always thought, if I live to be 40, I'll be lucky.
Yeah.
And so once I hit 40, I was like, you know what? I want to live to be 50, 60, 70, 80. And now I have 5 grandchildren. So I'm still here. I'm still functioning. I'm still being able to play with my grandchildren. And now I got no problem. I think I can live to be 80 or 90.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I've had that mindset basically my whole life. You know what I mean? Well, it's like if I make it at 22, I'll be good.
Yeah.
That's what I said growing up. Like, at least I'll make it there.
Every year after that.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just a blessing, right? Like,
yeah. And then,
I'm just testing my luck at this point.
even though the whole time I was an alcoholic, I was also a Christian. I thought I was. I mean, I still, I knew who God was. I knew who Jesus was. He was in my heart and everything, but I didn't act the way I should have acted. Mm-hmm. And once I got sober, then everything came together.
That narrow path. Well, it's crazy. It's like, I think you have to go through those things to find God almost. Because if you don't struggle and life is just handed to you, it's easy. It's like, when are you going to look for him? You know what I mean? Almost. It's like you're never going to lean into him unless you go through something, whether that be like incredibly hard or incredibly easy. You have to have a moment of like, oh shit, to where
when I got saved, my preacher, it was Brother Barano, Church of God, and I saw this man do incredible things like walk the tops of the pews where people, you say that and people are like, nah, they don't do that. Nah, I saw it. I seen it, I seen God come into this church and do amazing things. And how you can deny that after you see it?
You can't.
You can't. But the thing I liked about Brother Barano, I could refer to myself. He came up, did the bad things. He wasn't born into a pastor's family, and become a pastor. His daddy was a pastor, and everything. He did all those things. He had tattoos all over him. But this was a God-fearing man,
Somebody who's also walked the walk of the other side and experienced that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I have a hard time, like, when people try to tell you how to be when they've never been on the other side of it.
Well,
it's a lot easier for you to say, do this, that, and the third if you've never grown up with the bullshit
like
that some
first
people
marriage,
grow
I
up
went to marriage counseling with my pastor that was the pastor of the church then. He was 23 years old. He never had a marriage problem in his life. How you
gonna tell me?
How you gonna tell me? And I know God gave him the things to say to me and everything, but it was easier talking to somebody who had been through what I had been through.
Like when I got sober, my mentor, the guy who owns Bistro in Pawleys Island, Same things, just buck wild like me growing up. Couldn't tell him a thing, right? Had huge problems with pills and cocaine, things like I did. And like biggest thing, my dad I feel like growing up, my dad really tried to like get through to me, and my mom too, but it's almost like they didn't understand kind of what I was going through because they'd never done it. So it's almost like, you can't tell me. But when he would start to tell me things, I'd be like, damn, this is a guy that's already done it, if not more than what I've done. And he's like coming from a place of, I know, you know what I mean? Not like I'm better or you should be better, right?
Right, and he wasn't handed everything, you know, he had to work for everything. It's like Brother Marino, when he first started preaching, he was a non-denominational, you know, you know, and he would rent the school gymnasium and he would have church, you know. Somebody that does that.
Humble beginnings, right?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's
to come from where he was to where he ended up, and he's still a pastor. I think he's at Fort Lawn right now.
That's what builds like the most genuine God-fearing men, is like growing up like that with trouble and hardship.
It's a shame we got to go through all that shit.
No, it is.
But it makes you it makes you who you are.
No, 100%. And I mean, we'll look at, not even to say that, look at somebody who doesn't struggle. You know what I mean? It's not that they don't know life, but it's like you have to experience some radical end of something to really have true wisdom like that, and to be able to lead and guide people. I think it has a lot to do with building
your character.
100%. To be able to lead and guide others, you have to go through some shitty shit, because you can't be able to handle pressure or lead others or be like a pillar for other people if you don't.
Well, sort of like a coach. It's just like in bodybuilding or powerlifting, a coach. You don't want, I mean, some coaches, don't get me wrong, there's some coaches out there who are just book smart and can, you know, take people to where they need to go. But I'm always been that guy. I want somebody that's done it, been successful at it, and can teach me how to do it.
They're never going to ask me to do something they haven't done themselves.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
That's what I pride myself on as a coach, is I tell my people when they start working with me, it's like, especially lifestyle people, it's like, dude, I'm never going to ask you to do something that I've never tried myself. You know what I mean? I'm not just blatantly telling you, do this. It works. Walk this way. It's more so just like, I've been through this. I can help you with this. Trust me. You know what I mean?
That's why I hate when like people look for like the certifications in certain people, because it's like, and I feel like nowadays there's like ads. I see them all the time. Anybody can get a certification.
Yeah, you take a 30-minute online course.
Yeah,
I mean,
certified.
To me, I've never been certified at anything.
NASM's coaching bodybuilding coaches now. I saw a commercial yesterday when we were watching Netflix. A little ad came up, and it's like, "Do you want to coach bodybuilders?" Da 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 da, and it was a NASM body, like, I'm gonna make you a bodybuilding coach thing. It's their new program, and I'm sitting there like,
bro, and they market it, and the thing that they say is like, anybody can get certified when they market it. And it's like, anybody? like, what do you mean?
No, I know.
That's not good.
Well, that's like, I think it's funny because people will preach about certifications, but then you'll have somebody like C.T. Fletcher who they'll pay to come teach people who are certified. And that man's never done a certification course in his life. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just like right now, I don't have time. And I do coach a certain amount of people, and I do it for free, you know, because that's my passion. But right now, I could have 100, 200 clients. I get DMs all the day, every day of, will you help me with my bench? Will you write me a program? Will you do this? And it's not that I don't want to help those people. I just can't get to all of them. And then if I charge them, I'm that person. When I did personal training early in my career, if people didn't do what they wanted, if people did what they wanted to do and not what I told them to do, I'd fire them in a second.
No, 100%.
You know, I don't want you, because then you're posting that you're in the gym busting your ass with me at 5 a.m. and then you're eating Mexican for lunch.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know? So that's why I gave up and quit, you know, training people and stuff.
Well, no, it's frustrating when people don't represent you well. I let go of somebody the other week. He's complaining that his check-in was the same every single week when it came to like, yeah, it's going to ask you your weight every week. It's going to ask you your waist measurement every week. It's going to ask you your water intake, your stress level.
If it's the same every week, it's on you.
Yeah, well, like, no, it wasn't even that. He was like, they're the same questions every single week. I'm like, do you want me to like fucking come up with 3 extra questions to just ask you every single week? Like he's like, this isn't personal enough. I'm like, dude, he literally
You're
told
not
me,
paying for personal.
Yeah, he was like,
be
dude,
honest with you.
Yeah, well,
You
he's like,
know?
I don't have the time to fill out a questionnaire that's the same questions every single week. I was like, all right, then you don't have time to lose weight then.
It takes like 5 minutes.
Literally, it takes no time, bro. Like,
Well, I look at it this way. If I got back into doing online training or anything like that, you pay for what you get.
no, 100%.
You know, I'm going to write something, you know, like everybody else does. You start there. But if you want me every day to answer your questions, to look at your videos, to pop in and watch you train or train with you or stuff, you're going to pay for it.
No, 100%. That's what I just hired a business coach, and my girlfriend Callie, she works for a nutrition company, and she was like looking at my prices, and I thought I charged a good bit. And she was like, so I do morning motivational texts and weekly video check-ins. So these people are getting a lot of my personal time. She was like, you need to charge more. You know what I mean? For like the amount of personal time you give people. Because if you think about it, the regular coach and even a high-level coach, like what Goob gives me, he's not fucking babysitting me every day. That fucker ain't in my phone. Hey, how are you doing this morning? Did you like?
Because he knows you're going to do what you're supposed to do.
You know what I mean? And I also don't pay him for that. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
like, you know what I
exactly.
mean? It's like, so what I'm giving these people, you almost have to charge what you're worth too, and what these people need from you, because there's a level of client that's going to need that, and then there's a level of client that's not going to need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you do want that, you're going to have to pay to play. You know what I mean? Almost.
That's why you have like different packages.
No, 100%.
So they say to do like a small one, a medium one, and like a big one, because most people are gonna buy like usually the middle. Because if you even market like a one that's higher than your one that's more personal, they're gonna be like, oh, that one's a little too
It's
much.
a psychological thing.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them
yeah. That
almost.
one's a little too much. This one's probably not a lot, and then the middle one is perfect. And just have that at like whatever you want to.
100%. I think you should get into coaching if you find the time to, though, just because you would make
when I quit competing.
not even like you need it, but just
what
the
I'd
amount
like
of
to do-
people that you could get, bro, is insane. Because you, again, with world records, it's almost like the proof is in the pudding. You have the pudding, right? Because you have the proof, like it's worked out.
Well,
I have a little
I've
bit of.
trained some top powerlifters in the world. You know, people don't know that I even trained them. You know, because I got them to where they needed to go, and then I'm just this old country boy that owns a gym. And the next thing you know, they leave off and go with somebody big.
100%.
You
That's
know?
kind of, well, I didn't even know Dawson, like, same thing, I didn't know Dawson trained Shane. And it's like, it's almost like you almost got to expect that at the beginning, too, being a beginning coach that doesn't have clout. People are going to kind of almost like catapult off you to other coaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I was living in Augusta, and this young kid, Jace LeGrand, I watched him train, and he weighed about 220, and he was putting up 1,600. You know, it wasn't anything massive, you know, and everything. And Jace was dating a girl that was dating the girl that I was dating at that time before I got married, and so Jace became like a son to me. But I saw Jace, even before that, I saw Jace in the gym. I said, Jace, I said, if you'll put everything you got into it, you can be #1 in the world. And when I was done with him, he broke Dan Green's all-time record.
Fuck yeah.
And then not long after that, he left me and went with somebody bigger.
Do you feel any, like, you don't take that personally when people do leave you that way, do you?
No, because here's the thing. Everybody's got to look out for themselves, but you can't forget where you come from and the people that got you there. It's just like whenever I bench and I break a record or anything like that, the most important person wasn't me lifting. It was the guys who trained with me every day that got me there. It was the guy that lifted off to me. It was the guys that did all that extra work, stayed with me 2 hours longer in the gym because I needed them to spot me, and they were done. Mm-hmm. Those are the most important people in your training. Mm-hmm. It's not you breaking the world record. You can't do it without those guys.
100%. C-Bum said, like, when he won the Olympia, he's like, people say it takes a village. It doesn't take a village, it takes a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a family to win trophies, to win championships, to break records. You know what I mean? You have to, it's not the one person. You may see the one person breaking the record or doing that one event or the thing that makes the noise, but there's countless other amount of people behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like same
You
thing.
always got to give thanks to those who helped you get there.
100%. And nobody can do it alone. Any successful person has plethora of people under them that truly care about them. You know what I mean?
And if they did it alone, screw them. Because they ain't worth shit because they didn't do it alone.
No, 100%.
They said they did it alone.
100%. There's not one person that could be that successful alone. You need people in your life to help you, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even if you're in a marriage or dating somebody, that person's got to put up with your bullshit, the
100%.
extra training, the extra eating, helping cook for you, do all those things. You can't do it without that person. And they're not even involved in your gym.
Not going out to dinner, not doing family things, all that
exactly.
stuff. And it's a conscious sacrifice that they make for you. You got to be able to say like, hey, thank you. You know what I mean? Also make that. I feel like the best relationships, friendship, family, amorous relationships, it's the best ones are each person's putting in 60% effort because they think the other person's going to put in 40. You know what I mean?
Well, I saw this thing the other day, and this is something that me and my wife do now all the time. And my daughter saw it somewhere. Gabby saw it, and she sent it to us, and she sent it to Dina. I think I might have saw it on TikTok or something, but everybody's like, well, marriage is 50-50. No, it's not. Today, I wake up, and I look at Dina, and I say, I got 20. Mm-hmm. I'm just beat down. I got 20. Mm-hmm. And if she says, I got 80, we good. Mm-hmm. But if she says, I only got 20, then we know it's going to be a rough day.
100%.
And everything that would be piss us off or do anything, that's pushed to the side now because both of you are struggling. Mm-hmm. So every morning you got to know where you're at.
100%.
It's not 50-50.
100%.
It's not 60-40. Every day is different.
That's I love that. 100%. Because you could both be struggling one day and you don't want the shit to get in between y'all. Anger is always a secondary emotion.
Yep.
You're always feeling stressed, hurt, pride, ego, you know what I mean? Something behind
And my
that.
wife's in prep 24/7. I mean, she did 3 shows last year, so I had to deal. She works a full-time job. I'm retired. I got the life of luxury. I get to sit on my ass till 9:30 in the morning. She's up at 5:30 on cardio. Then she's got to, get ready to go to work. And then like today, she's in Charleston.
Well, I see you train her, you help her with their meals. You're up in here taking your time, and it's a teamwork thing. It's like any friendships, relationships, you got to be willing to sacrifice for each other. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's like when everybody compliments her, I kind of steal a little bit. I'm like, I built that shit. She's like, nah, I did all the hard work. I said, nah, I built that shit.
That's funny.
That's what's up. I'm single.
I'm single.
What happened to that little blonde you were seeing?
Not wife material.
Yeah.
I could put that. It's just she knows it's true.
What about old girl?
Fuck. Huh?
Well, I don't know because I had to deal with y'all's generation a lot because my kids and everything. But it's like I don't understand. When I was growing up, you were either dating somebody or you weren't dating them. Now we're just hanging out. Well, how many people are you hanging out with?
No, 100%. 100%.
I just don't get that. And I think a lot of people waste time in their life
bouncing around,
hanging out with somebody that they know, just like you said, she's not wife material. Why do you want to waste your time with that?
100%. When I started hanging out with her, me and Ben had a conversation. He looked at me. He was like, "Yo," he's like, "You ask yourself why you staying single." He was like, "Why don't you try treating a girl like your wife, like from right off the rip, for the first time?" And I was like, "Okay, that's a good point. Instead of like being a douchebag,
put more in than taking out."
Exactly, 100%. Let's see what I can give into this, not just what I can get out of this. And guess what? Now I got a girlfriend. Right? And a good girl, too.
She's been here a little while.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, this is like one of those things. It's like you got to put in what you want to get out of it with training, with relationships, in life. You get what you give, right?
Well, I'm also a lot younger, so it's like
it's harder to find.
Not even that. It's like when I do get into it, I'm just like, I have so many things that I still need to work on within myself, and then I also am just like very busy and I'm all over the place. And I don't want somebody that's gonna like drag down my time to just get to where I'm trying to go.
But it's
that's why if it's the right person,
but
then
if you
they'll
find
help.
the right person, they can complement all of those
you're
things.
not sure where you're going in life and everything too, so it's kind of hard to find that mesh and everything. But at the same time, I used to ask my daughters and my sons, and I'd be like, well, where do they work? I don't know. What do you
What the
mean?
yeah.
You've been hanging out with them. Are their parents married? I don't know.
What do their
I'm
parents
y'all
do?
Been hanging out for a month. Ask the simple questions.
I would get mad at my mom growing up because she'd be like, "What do their parents do?" And I'd be like, "Why are you asking me that shit? Like, I don't know. What? That's not important." And it makes sense. It's like if you're gonna hang out with somebody, don't you want to know about their life and like what
whatever
they're
their
doing?
parents do is important to what her upbringing and everything and all that. So yeah, you do need to ask those simple questions.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What do their parents do? I don't know. I think they cook
But
meth
you're
in their
right.
trailer.
You're an entrepreneur, so you're traveling, you're doing all this stuff. It's going to take a special girl to put up with that.
And then my thing is, I think if I did find the one person, it would probably be online, like someone doing the same thing that I do that I can like mesh with. You know what I'm saying?
I used to think the same thing though, and my thing with that is, I don't want somebody else that does social media because I don't want my entire relationship to be on social media.
I feel
so-
yeah.
Exactly, and
So
it's
my-
almost like two of you can't bodybuild because you can't be in prep at the same time.
Right.
So it's like, the way it works with me and Dina is like she picks out a show, she does a show, and then I do a meet after that. We never really go at the same time because, everything's so selfish. I mean, let's get down to it.
No, 100%.
Bodybuilding is one of the most selfish sports you can do in the world.
If not the most.
Yeah. And
If you're both miserable, then you're
Yeah,
fucked.
like
You're
it's
both
all about
miserable.
you. For that 12 to 16 weeks, it is nothing but me,
Right.
meals, training. Don't talk
and
to
then
me.
I'm doing weight cuts and everything. So we just decided we're not going to do them at the same time. You do yours, I'll support you. Then I do mine, you support me, and then we'll work. That's the only way.
And then
works.
like as a family, it's like you couldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna prep. Like I find it the women that are like having children when their like husbands are competing. I'm like, damn, that's a woman right there, because that's holy crap.
and works a full-time job.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of support. You know what I mean?
I mean, like going back to it, I don't even think she has to be like big on social media or like on social media. It's just the work ethic is what I find the most like attractive in what I'm looking for in somebody.
So you would like same thing with me and Callie. It's like she's a nutritionist. She does what I do, but not what I do to a full extent on social media. You know what I mean? So we have the same interests.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We both like to work out. We both like to eat healthy, but we're not. But like again, I don't think I could do the social media thing with somebody else because I don't want. I like private aspect to my life
Well,
too.
especially if you're both living together, so you're both going to be working from home a lot.
And then you're doing the same stuff all the
And you're
time,
training,
posting the same
and,
stuff.
so all of a sudden you're together 24/7, and that's not good for any relationship.
Yeah, no, because then you can't breathe. Yeah, you feel like you can't breathe, and you're like, get the fuck out my space.
Yeah.
So Ben, we're going to pray for you. We're going to pray that you find that special one.
I appreciate it. I don't even like. I'm not even looking at this point. It's just like
It'll come when it comes.
Dude, you got a long life ahead of you, man. It probably, I always told mine, it's one day you're going to look up and it's going to punch you right in the mouth.
yeah.
Did you feel old at 20, like older at 25? Because I feel like I'm running out of time at 25, which is weird. You know what I mean?
I was running so hard from the time I was 18 to 40. I was just happy to be alive. And I mean, it's all a blur, really. I mean, I look back and I remember my kids growing up and everything. I remember coaching and all. And then I remember the day that, Brendan laid the baseball glove and the bat down and said, Dad, I don't want to play no more. And then, I was devastated, because he was a hell of an athlete. And then now I get to live it again through my grandkids, because
I did that to my mom. I quit soccer and she was so pissed.
Really?
But I'm very proud of all my kids. They all got great careers. Two of them are police officers, and Brendan, he runs a gym. He owns a landscape. Well, it's not landscaping, but it's a grading company. Zach runs an underground boring company. They all make good money. Never do they call Dad needing money. They all own their own homes. They're successful.
Even if we mess up, it's almost like if you have a good role model, eventually you'll get back there. You know what I mean?
Well, my daughters, there was a period of time where all my daughters were going through guys that just, like Gabby's almost 30. At that age, most of her age people are either in a serious relationship or married. And she was picking up these guys that were just trash, and everything. Now, finally, she's met a great guy. My other daughter, Ashlyn, she's met a great guy. They moved in together. They'll probably be married real soon. But you know what was funny? Is both of them met a guy that wasn't even their criteria or what they wanted.
It's when you're not looking for it.
Well, Ashlyn met a guy with a personality that is just bigger than this world, and she fell in love with him. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the pretty boy. Yeah. You know, he's a good-looking dude, but, you know, he wasn't what she always dated and everything. Yeah. And then Gabby, she wanted this big, tall country bumpkin that drove a pickup truck, you know, and everything. She's lives with a doctor. I mean, she's about to marry, you know, they live together. She's living with a doctor, you know.
100%.
And he's a bodybuilder, so they have that in common.
Didn't he break his leg or something?
He, actually, they were moving in together. And Brandon fell down. He was actually hired a moving company. This is crazy. They were on their way to move his stuff. And he's like, oh, I'll just take this box and, you know, put it in my car and I'll take it. And he missed the last step and blew his kneecap off.
Oh.
So now he's going through.
Like patella tendon and everything going. Yeah. That's, ow.
Yeah. Over a simple box that he couldn't see the last step. And, you know.
That's one of those moments. It's just like, well, God testing you right now.
Yeah.
100%. There's no explanation for that moment. It's just like, damn it.
Well, you know, it brought them closer together, and let's see what happens.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
100%. I was, again, like I said this a couple weekends ago on the podcast, I like prayed the other week for a moment to surrender myself to God, and then I got hit with a $10K tax return from the IRS. And it's like right then and there, I can either calm down, pay up, you know what I mean, do what I can do, move forward. Obviously, I'm blessed that I had it, just paid it, you know what I mean? It wasn't a big stressor, but it was more like, oh, I prayed.
But it hurt to give it away.
Yeah, well, it's like I just prayed for a chance to surrender myself to God and like give him my anxieties and, well, now it don't sound too fun, you know what I mean? It's like, now I want to punch a fucking wall. Like, but you get those choices, right? Everything happens for a reason, whether it's good or bad. It's about having that perspective.
So what else we want to talk about?
Did we get through the entire come up to where we are right now?
No, we haven't.
We went through the alcohol.
Well, I met Donnie, and, you know, I met Louie, and, you know, and after that I've met, you know, the fitness world's been so great to me, man. I've met so many good people, famous people, you know, just because they're famous, they're not always good, but I've always met good people, you know, and then building this gym, I've been able to meet some of the greatest people, you know, just common people and famous people, you know. I met y'all, you know. It's this gym. My wife and I built this gym so people could have somewhere to go, leave their drama at the gate right here, come in here, bust their ass. We don't work out here at the pump house. We train at the pump house, and it's in our logo. You know, training's in our blood. Mm-hmm. So we built this for people to come in here and be able to be successful. It's like a family. Everybody that comes in here and buys a day pass or a week pass goes, man, I wish you'd build this thing in my hometown. You know, yep. We have people who've been training for 10 or 15 years and really hadn't made any goals, and they walk in here, well, they see the pros that we have in here, they see everybody busting their ass. Next thing you know, they're wanting to step on stage. We had a guy just step on stage, never competed in his life, Val. You know, stepped on stage and cleaned house. Yeah. And right when he's going to get his pro card,
he got hurt.
Tore his tricep.
Yep.
You know, so, but here again, everything happens for a reason. I promise you, next year after he heals, he's going to come back with vengeance.
100%.
You know, and all those little things that they told him that he was short on, because we're all short on something. You know, we need to work on a part here or there. He is going to make those better than they were.
100%. And this place is like a home, a second home to all of us. Like I come in here and like, I think it's one of the things that I notice is like day passers, when we're all working out, they see how like all of us don't even really wear headphones some days. We're like talking to each other across the gym. Oh, will you come spot me? What's up? You
yeah,
know what I mean?
people don't believe how, you know, most of the time especially when I'm a day passer because of my size and everything, when I walk into a gym in another town or anything, people run from me.
People are not very, well, I don't look very approachable apparently. So then when I walk in, but I like that, like, it's like, don't like, don't do that to me, man. Like, I promise you, I'm the nicest guy in here.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
here,
Like,
but here it's like everybody's equal. You know, everybody's the same.
well, the problem with Myrtle is we needed a gym where it wasn't cliquey. And this is, again, it's like, leave your bullshit at the door. We're all in here to be friends and train. Like, when you tell me, like, you know, like, you're doing the same weight for the past 3 months, it's like, I feel like we have such a uplifting community, even though it's healthy criticism sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
and sometimes it's yanking your chain, you know. And but I'm gonna
that's
tell
the
you,
best type.
Exactly. You know, when you yank somebody's chain, you pull something deep down in them that they didn't even know they had.
No, 100%. I love, like, my best lifts usually are when y'all are, like, in the background and I hear one of y'all, like, don't fucking give up. You're doing this. Or, like, you say something where it's like, don't touch the floor. Like, just get up and go. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like when we bench, I believe the more the merrier. I mean, I think, I don't care if you bench 135 or if you bench 600 pounds. When there's more people there and there's more people pushing you and pulling for you and everything, I think that's when everybody has their best lifts.
100%.
I mean, adrenaline and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a different atmosphere. You change. It's like church. When you're in church and the more people who are worshiping and everything, God moves different ways.
Literally.
You know, it's just like in the gym. You know, you come in here and you got 2 people benching, you're pulling for each other and everything. Yeah, you're going to get motivated. You got 8 guys standing over you telling you, come on.
Get the fuck up.
Yeah,
you won't press that shit.
It's different, you know.
100%. No, it is an energy thing. I can tell when I'm training by myself or when I'm training with, like, Ruben and Ben and Dawson, or when you guys are around, you know what I mean? Or even, like, when I would say probably not so much when we're in Alpha Lane, because we have our people there that we train hard there too, but, like, when we're in New York, it's almost a little bit harder for us to, like, get in the zone. But when we were kind of like, it's kind of like harder at Complete Body. We were, like, walking around new gym in New York filming, and it was kind of, like, weird at first. Some of the guys were being standoffish, you know what I mean? And then another dude, like, came up. He's like, y'all need a spot, you know what I mean? And the second we got that, it was, like, energy up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lift immediately 100% better, you know what I mean? Just having that.
Yeah, I think we're taking Pump House to the moon.
No, 100%. I think I didn't believe what you said 3 years ago when we first started hanging out, and you were like, why move somewhere? We just put Myrtle on the map. And it's like,
well, when I brought the Pump House to Myrtle Beach, my whole thing was, when you talk about the East Coast, I want somebody to say the Pump House. I want this to be the mecca of gyms on the East Coast. And we are far blessed beyond what we ever thought we would be. We could move. We've been open a year. We leased a little under 12,000 square feet. We can move into 25 or 30,000 square feet right now and not miss a beat.
100%.
It's been that successful.
It's what y'all bring as a gym. You know what I mean? Like, I drive 35 minutes from my house to work out here every day for a reason. There's plenty of gyms around here, and I choose to come here. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'd rather not be anywhere else.
Well, and we put 2 and 3 of everything in here, so you never have to wait.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and we put 2 or 3 of everything in here that hits it just a little different angle as well. You know, I always tell people, they're like, oh, you don't have, you know, some of the best equipment out there right now. I said, listen, every line that has ever came out in the fitness world has 1 or 2 good pieces in it. That's the pieces you go buy.
No, 100%.
I don't care if it's a Body Master, if it's a Cybex, Nautilus, or whatever. All those have great pieces of equipment. That's the old school gyms that you want to go train in. No. Not the guys, and the new guys that are putting out equipment now, they're trying to copy some of the old school stuff and everything, and they're getting pretty successful at it. But you still have that vibe.
Well, I would say I think the only one that I like really is Prime, but their stuff is still even not as good as, like, you get a Nautilus, like, pullover from the 80s, and it's like,
yeah, but Prime wasn't Prime. They were, who were they before they were Prime?
I don't even know.
Yeah, what's that bicep curl over there?
Strive? They were Strive?
Yeah. Pretty sure Prime was Strive. Prime bought Strive and then redid everything. I'm pretty sure.
Well, that would make sense because Strive is the only other one that does the resistance profiles. Yeah, so that I didn't even fucking know that. That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure. Don't. Somebody's probably going to sue me because I said it. But I'm pretty sure Strive sold to Prime.
That would make a lot of sense, honestly. because this like Strive. Their Strive stuff is good. They have a pendulum squat too that's really good. It's
And
like,
you know, Body Master, there's 1 or 2 pieces like the tricep overhead that I bought. I paid ungodly money for it, shipped it from halfway across the country because, listen, they don't make those anymore. That is what I built my triceps on. And that is the greatest tricep machine that I ever used. I wanted it in my gym, so I paid whatever I had to pay for it to have it here.
100%.
You know,
How many pieces were in here last year when we first opened?
there were
Compared to now.
101 pieces when we opened last year.
And then how many now?
A year later, there's 151 in here. And the last 10,
your maintenance fee's going to good use.
yeah,
I promise you.
Anybody complains about a maintenance fee at the pump house, they
just get out.
yeah. But you know, and we've reupholstered everything in here that needs to be reupholstered. You know, there's 1 or 2 pieces in here now, but he usually waits for about 5 pieces before he comes in because I do it here. I do it on the spot. I got a guy that comes in, reupholsters it, puts it back on, and it's only down 5 minutes. Where a lot of these gyms send them off, they're down 2 and 3 weeks waiting for it to come back.
What does that mean?
My dad used to do all the vinyl, all the vinyl,
Reupholstered, all
like
the vinyl on it. When the rips,
the
in them
seats and all that shit.
The cables?
No,
No,
the
the seats.
vinyl on the seats, bro. So like all that stuff will get worn down. Like
Okay.
When it gets rips in it and everything,
Yeah.
we fix it as soon as it starts ripping.
Okay.
You know, but I got a guy who comes and does it in the parking lot. He's a mobile unit.
Yeah.
You ever
So,
you ever
I
done
don't
it yourself too?
send them off.
Bro, that shit is such a bitch. My dad used to do every single one by
I
himself.
don't
like,
want nothing to do with it.
like fold it and staple it back in there, and I'd be like, dude, this is a pain in the dick.
That's why
dude.
That's why they have people who specialize in shit.
Bro, like that, and it's honestly a big thing because people will pay attention to that. Like, people would.
It's part of your cleanliness.
They do. My
if
dad
you got
does it.
foam hanging out there, you can't sanitize foam.
My dad does it every year, even if it doesn't need, like even in the private training gym, and it doesn't get that much wear and tear. But every year, because people appreciate coming in and being like, there's all brand new vinyl on the equipment. Like, holy shit, you know what I mean? It's the little things. I went in Sky Fitness Man the other day, and I was using their hack squat. Not the other day, 4 months ago, because I canceled my membership there because of this. And literally, because I was like crushed for time, I went there. I had to train. And I'm training, and the hack squat is so like dry where the bolts are and everything that I pushed it off the rack because it just wasn't even like gliding right. So I walk over and I'm trying to get back on, and I'm like, there's no way it's stuck. I go, do y'all have any WD-40 so I can just fix this for y'all? Like a quick fix. She goes, well, I don't think we have any of that here. I'm like, this is a gym.
I'm going to teach you something. WD-40 is the wrong thing to put on.
Really?
It's the worst thing you can put on equipment.
Really?
Yep. Because it dries up.
After a while.
Yeah, you need to put gun oil.
Okay.
Gun oil is what needs to go on them.
Or some fat bag. Put some fat
Hey.
back on that motherfucker. No, that's valid though. I guess the WD-40, because it will dry it out if you don't consistently do it. You know what I mean? But even so, in a gym, you should have. You should have
for a
some
quick
lubricant
fix, for
or
a
like
quick fix,
WD-40.
That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you
because
should-
everybody's got
You
WD-40.
should have some fucking. I was like, yo, y'all actually don't have anything. No lube, no spray. No, we don't have none of that. I was like, so.
Well, that's the good thing about having a gym owner who trains in the gym and works in the gym and everything, because we repair 90% of what we have the day it breaks.
Because you use it.
Yeah.
You know it's gone.
If a cable comes off a pulley, we don't put out of order. We go readjust it.
Yeah, 100%.
But back to the powerlifting, where were we at? I don't know.
You do any bodybuilding shows?
You know what? I told my wife, and I hired Cornelius Parkin. I was going to do a bodybuilding show. And, you know, I'm that guy. I'm just so big up top. My legs, everybody says, I don't train legs. Believe me, I train legs all the time. I train legs just as hard as anybody else train legs. 6 years ago, we were in a car accident. We were sitting still on I-77, and an 18-wheeler hit us in the rear and doing 80.
Oh, fuck.
I broke the steering wheel, I broke the dash, I broke the windshield, the column, everything. Tore my quad completely in half.
Jeez.
Had an 8-inch by 3-inch hematoma inside my quad.
Ow.
So for 2 years, I couldn't train legs. Well, Imagine if you didn't train your legs for 2 years, what happens?
The upper body's going to get bigger, no doubt. Yeah,
You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
100%.
You know, I had to learn how to walk again.
And the atrophy from just not doing simple
Exactly.
things like walk. Yeah, 100%.
So not only did I couldn't train them, I had to learn how to walk again. See, and that's what gets me about social media. Everybody, you don't, just
You don't know
saying
me.
shit, but you don't know me. You don't
Yeah.
know what I've been through. No, you don't know that I had a 2-year battle with cancer. I ain't even supposed to be here.
100%.
And through cancer, I trained my ass off. Throwing up every day. People just don't get it. They want to be that. You don't do this, you don't do that. Hey, but you know what? Every once in a while they get under my skin, just a little bit. Every once in a while I might snap back, but you know what? I'm gonna pray for all of them.
No, 100%. That's where it's like.
That's probably the reason I haven't done a bodybuilding show. I was gonna do one, but my legs just ain't there. I think I could do classic.
Have you done them in the past?
No.
Okay.
But I was gonna do a classic show, and then I got to looking, man, I got to get down to like 260.
Yeah. That's not going to be fun for you, bro.
Gee.
Dude, I did a 35-pound water cut in 6 days. I went to 274. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you would have to do a 24-week prep to get down there healthy and not actually be going hypo
And a
every
power
day.
lifter going 24 weeks without food.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's probably that's like a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
truly.
testing you a good bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're used to being able to eat. It's going to be a rude awakening for me doing this first prep because Goob's the first coach that gave me multiple weekly cheats. So going from where I'm growing right now to being able to eat 2 times a week whenever I want to, whatever food I want as I get a craving really. And then he's just going to throw me right into prep. It's like no food. It's a bitch. You know what I mean? It's a mental thing of oh shit.
And I'm addicted to the most addicting thing in the world, sugar.
Oh yeah.
Sugar is more addictive than heroin. Sugar is more addictive than alcohol. Sugar is more addicting than
I'm right there with you, bro. I eat a nutty.
Everything.
I eat a nutty buddy every other night. It's fucking bad.
But
it's really bad.
That's the hardest thing to break is the sugar.
You was talking shit on our cereal and protein powder. What do you mean?
That's because why are y'all eating cereal on a damn prep?
We're not on prep.
He's in the off season.
This is we
Boy,
both.
in the off season, if you're bulking, eat whatever the fuck you want to eat.
His post workout meal in prep would be
Chicken and rice.
dextrose and whey, or rice and chicken.
Chicken or rice, not rice and chicken.
Which came first?
The chicken or the rice? That's a good question. Chicken, I don't know.
Did the chicken or the egg
Probably
come
the-
first?
Well, it don't matter on that one, but
This chicken.
because it's here.
I'd say the chicken.
But then how'd you get the first egg?
No, but I'm saying the chicken or the rice. I think the chicken bit came before the rice. Because the rice is like a plant.
Well, think about what do you put in your bowl first?
Rice.
I put the rice in first. So
put the-
technically
yeah.
speaking, rice and chicken.
Nah. Chicken and rice just sounds better. For sure. I don't know. I think
what
that's, yeah.
would you say future plans are for the Pump House? What are the future plans for Big Wayne?
Future plans for Big Wayne is we just started a prep for powerlifting. I want to break. I just want to be the #1 bencher in the world over 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I hear people all the time saying, you're doing it for this and that. No, I'm not that trophy guy. I just want to be the best. And if you don't want to be the best, I don't know why everybody should try to be better every day.
100%.
If you don't want to be the best, then, you're in the wrong place.
100%.
And when you think you're there, you still ain't there,
It's a mentality. It's like you watched Michael Jordan documentary?
Yep.
Where he's like, he starts crying, bro. He's like, people said I was a tyrant. He goes, that's because you never wanted anything in your life. He
You know
said,
what?
if you don't want to play this way, don't.
You know
don't
who
play."
somebody I kind of look up to, and he's a heathen, but I'm telling you, he had the right attitude. Mike Tyson.
Oh, dude, yeah, bro.
I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna
eat your
knock
heart
your
out.
head off.
Yeah.
I'm the best there ever was. I'm the best there's ever gonna be. And I think until they set Mike up, Mike probably would have been crazy. And I saw a quote by Mike the other day, and he's like, everybody talks about discipline, and Mike said, discipline is doing something you fucking hate like you fucking love it.
No, 100%. Have you watched his Hulu show? It's his like autobiography show about him growing up being young, bro. You would love that show. It's like everything, how he goes to jail, being accused of the rape, everything, bro. It's like what Don King does to him really bad, bro. It's an incredibly good show. He's one of my favorite people too, because it's the mentality of, again, think of how he grew up, institutionalized, fighting for his life all the time, bro.
And then took something that he had to do and make it a career.
Amazing. He turned his pain into power.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, bro. You take your bullshit and you turn it into something better.
He had the right mentor. He just broke away from him. If he could have, you know, got into the right thing, you know, it would have been amazing to see what Mike could have done.
It was the downfall of him was not having a father figure and looking for it and the people that he thought were there to help him. That's the sad thing is, you know, people like that are actually really innocent at the end of the day, even though they're...
Well, it's like a buddy of mine, and I won't say his name, but he was a multimillionaire. And when the 08 hit, he was worth $10, $12 million. After that night, he was bankrupt.
Yeah.
And he had a huge yacht, and he told me, he said, Wayne, he said, my birthday, I had 30, 40 people on my yacht, you know, we were partying and everything, you know. And he said, after all the money was gone, he said, my next birthday, he said, I had 3 people.
100%.
That's how it is.
No, it is like that. Keep the people around you that were around when you had nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I will be hanging out with him in 10 to 15 years, and you and Dawson and Ruben. There ain't gonna be a bunch of new faces around. That's when you get fucked up.
And take care of those who got you where you got.
100%.
You know, I think Ben's got a great thing going. I mean, you got a great thing going. It's just the problem with y'all is everybody in the world is trying to do what y'all are doing. So you got to be that much better than everybody else.
That's why you got to find that one thing that makes you different. Like nobody else, the Chicken and Rice CEO.
I think we have
you got to get it out there.
Exactly.
I think we all have a certain like cohesiveness about us, especially here at Pump. You know what I mean? Which helps us. It's more of like an authentic family vibe. When you watch our content, it's almost like the energy you get from being in Pump House too. My content does better when I'm in a place that has insane energy, like Alpha Land or Pump House. When I'm traveling, like training at these random day pass gyms, doesn't do as well because we have an X factor here with how well we complement each other, all of us, whether it's, you know, him doing his questions in the videos or like me benching with you being there or you benching with all your guys. It's like there's a certain rawness to a video right there.
Well,
you know
and what we got to understand too is we all feed off of each other. The more famous or the more well-known you become, you train here, that's the more people you touch that know where the Pump House is. Mm-hmm. You know, the more well-known and famous he becomes, he trains here, you know. And then when I do things, you know, I need to start wearing his clothing more. I wear most of my own clothing, but I need to start wearing it. He gives it to me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's free. Why wouldn't I wear it, you know? And we need to it's just like he needs a Chicken and Rice banner in here. 100%. All these, you know, usually we charge $1,000.
Keep your banner in there.
To put a banner in. Since I opened the Pump House, it's been so family oriented and we've done so good and been so blessed. I've not charged for one banner that we've ever put up. So if you want to put a banner up,
okay,
and put your phone number on it, you know,
that's free advertising
and everything, and that way, you know, when people come in here, because you know a lot of people come in here, they ask for you.
Yeah,
they'll be like, "Hey, doesn't Ben train here? You know, we follow Ben, Chicken and Rice and everything."
That's
and
awesome.
I'm like, you know, well, there's his phone number calling.
Yeah,
phone number is crazy.
When I was at Extreme the other day, there's some kid wearing Young LA. And I was trying to I just walked up to him asking for smelling salts. And again, when you're in a random gym and you're like, people are a little more so I walked up to him and he was like, the first thing I said to him, I pointed at his shirt because we're in Young LA. I went, Chicken and Rice? And he goes, how'd you know? And I go, bro, I'm Mr. Optimal. It's my best friend. And he goes, no shit, bro. I see you in his videos all the time. I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, Code Chicken?
Almost like, you know, the video you did. We were just bullshitting around, really. I mean,
That's
you know, and when it
views.
went famous on TikTok, dude, you wouldn't believe the people that I run into. I'll be in Florida. I'll be in Tennessee.
Big win.
I was at Black's Tire here in Myrtle Beach the other day. Dude's in front of me. He walks out. He comes back in, taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Are you that guy off of TikTok?"
I love that.
I get it. Like you. It's like all of a sudden, you know, everybody. A lot of people know who I am just because of my size and everything.
I'll even get comments like, "That's Big Wayne. I used to train with him at blah 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 in North Carolina." Like some random account. You know what I mean?
You know,
like,
I don't know how many people it's touched, but you know, it took my Instagram. It and the videos that I did, you know, benching and everything, we went to 50,000 or 45. I'm sorry, we're at 45,000 right now, and we really hadn't even tried.
100%.
It just shows how powerful social media really is in terms of. I mean, even you'd probably say that we probably helped the success of Pump House for sure.
Oh yeah.
So it just shows like the power of social media. So I think if we keep leveraging that, we make this like the new like alpha land of fucking
power
Myrtle
of
Beach.
Community too, bro. I mean, also it's like you never used to have people come into Myrtle Beach that were also trying to find to come visit a gym. I get people now messaging me and they're like, "Yo, I'm coming down to Myrtle. I'm gonna try to visit the Pump House."
Yep.
Dude, I get 100 DMs a week that say, "Hey, we're coming to train there. All I've heard is how bad it is and everything." And you know, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I built Big Wayne's. I owned 3 gyms before I built this gym. Big Wayne's was nicer than this, had more shit than this, was a badass gym. It was before its time. Because I was the only gym in town other than a gym called Omni. In 1 year in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Planet Fitness, Gold's, and LA Fitness opened. And pretty much ran me out of business. Forced me to sell.
100%.
You know, and I sold.
You can't compete with the corporations
But
when they're
now,
doing that.
all those people that left me and went to those gyms, like, dude, I wish Big Wayne's was still here, man. I miss that gym. And I'm like, well, you know, y'all turned your back on the family to go over here so you could have nice urinals and granite countertops in your bathroom and couches where you can all sit in there in your nakedness
and pay $20 a month. And that's where it's like, well, I feel like, again, it was almost harder when you and my dad were opening up gyms like that because health clubs were almost more popular in like the 90s and the early 2000s. Now people are trying to get away from that where it's like, no, I don't want to fucking Planet Fitness. I want to go train at a gym.
They want old school.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what I said. This gym right here it's old school with a little bit of new school.
You never catch me paying $45, $50 a month to go train at a Life Fitness, bro. Why would I do that?
And then I hear, and that's another thing I hear about, you know, it costs too much or this and that.
Cry me a river.
I'm like, I'm telling you right now, if I had to drive, I grew up having to drive an hour to a gym. That was the closest gym, was 45 minutes. And then if I had to work, it was at 45 minutes back the other way. Then I had to go to work. So it was 2.5 hours in the morning to go to the gym and back to work. And dude, if I have a gym that's within an hour driving, I don't care if it costs $100. If it's got the shit I need, that's where I'm
going there to train. 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's, well, how much value do you put? What the fuck is even $50 a month even? That's not even a lot if you think about it in the grand scheme of things of you adding 51 pieces of equipment. It's not even $50 a month here, but I would gladly pay $50 a month. You know what I mean?
I'm about to say, y'all better get here sooner before that day pass goes up.
Yeah,
it's only going to go up before it goes down.
Well,
right?
shit. The water used to be free until everybody started taking them home. It's like, y'all better get here quick, because y'all missing out.
Yeah, let me make a little comment on that. So we threw 20-something bottles of water a day away. People would open them
Leaving
up,
them on the floor.
Leave them on
and
the
shit.
floor, so we had to throw them away. And then it got to where people were grabbing 4 and 5, putting them in their gym bag and walking out the door. I mean, we still get free bananas, but we still catch people taking a whole thing of bananas and put them in their gym bag and walking out.
That's blatant disrespect.
Yeah.
But here again, it goes back to there's always a few
that ruin it for all of them.
for everybody.
Because when the first year, it wasn't a problem. It's like, oh, there's banana. I'm gonna have banana. So water. It's that entitlement. Oh, I'm gonna come in here. Bananas are free. Well, I'll just take the whole bushel.
Yeah. The longer they're here, it's like they feel like more comfortable, and then they just.
Well, when you
like
forget,
The water's for training. It's for when you're training, not
to
for you to take home. You know, I'm not your grocery store. I mean, you know.
And the entire time that I've been here, I've maybe taken 5 water bottles. I bring my water every single day.
You know,
I
we
used
have
to go.
people
I
that
used to
take
go
5
through
a day.
I used to go through
insane.
2 a day, 100%. But like, I was drinking them training. Like, I wasn't like, well, let's stop and I'm gonna grab 3 for the car, grab my lean body 2, and maybe one more banana 2.
But I mean, in reality, they're $1 a piece.
No.
Well, it's a principle thing too. Also, it's like, how many times can you? That was like, dude, one of my friends. I tried to go train an American one time, and he got kicked out from American because when he was drunk and he had a membership in high school, he went in there, and there's an alarm when you go in there. So he went in there behind the counter and stole 3 bushels of bananas because they're free there too. And Colby told me, he was like, motherfucker stealing my bananas, bro. Like, what the fuck?
If you're that hard up, I'll give them to you.
Yeah, but like, he went to his house and he went to his house because he had his address, and he was like, bro, you can't be fucking stealing like that, bro. Like, it's a principle thing, dude. It's like, they're there for everybody. Don't ruin it for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if they're not on the meal plan, I ain't taking them, you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think that was good.
No, I think that was a really good pod. We got a lot of good information with y'all. Thank you for taking the time to do
I
this.
appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. We'll get you some nice clips.
Yeah, we'll cut it up and get you some
Instagram.
content.
Yes, sir. Anything to tell them? Ending off?
10177 North Kings Highway if you want a good pump.
Pump
On a pump house.
Myrtle Beach, baby.
Let's go.
Peace.